So in this video we're going to learn how to make the drill gauge using 3D CAD software Creo Parametric. So it looks like this. You might have already made one, or you might be making one in the future. And it's basically a piece of sheet steel which has got different holes drilled out with the diameter of different drills, so you can check the size of each drill bit. So we're going to make that in 3D CAD. So this is how we get started. This worksheet will talk you through all the different steps, and they accompany this video. So you can download this from the shared area, or there'll be a link for you to download it and print it off for yourself as we go through. But this video will accompany it and talk you through the different stages. So the first job is to open up the program. So we go Start, All Programs, Departmental Student Software, Design Technology, Creo Parametric. Now it takes a little bit of time to load up, and when it does, it should look like this, where you've got the car on the home screen. First thing you're going to do is to select your working directory. So click on Select Working Directory, and then click on Documents to say that you're going to save it in there. Now I've already created a folder called Creo Engineering, which is my working directory. But if you wanted to do a different one or create one, you'd go Select Working Directory, Documents, and then you can go to the Organize tab here and make yourself a new folder and create a folder for your Creo work to go into. I must point out though, you can't use spaces, so if you're going to do a Creo folder, you'd have to put an underscore or something like that in there without using spaces. Okay, now we've done that, we can start making our parts. So we're going to make a new file. We're going to call it drill gauge, again with no spaces. So go into Creo, go new, make sure it's on parts, and call it drill gauge, G-A-U-G-E. I'm going to call mine drill gauge 2 because I've already created one already. So we click OK, and first thing we're going to do is click on top. Now I've put the long description in the sheet here, and I've given you some images to help you to make sure you know what you're doing. If you're a bit more experienced with Creo, then you might want to use the flowchart on the left, which is just in a slightly shorter version. So Start, Working Directory, New Part, click on Top, Sketch View, which is what we're going to do now. Okay, so click on Top, and that's on the model tree on the left, and then we're going to go to Sketch and Sketch View. So we click on Top, we can either do it here or over here on the left in the model tree. And then we click Sketch, and then put it into Sketch View, which is here. And Sketch View flattens it down so that you're looking directly down on it. Next, we are going to use the corner rectangle tool, and then starting for the datum axis on at the bottom, we're going to go up and to the right. So corner rectangle is here. Click to start in here, and then move up and right like that. Doesn't matter how big it is, just click again to finish. And then we're going to use the normal dimensions tool. Double click on the length, type in a length of 120, and double click on the width to type in a width of 50. So normal dimensions is here. Double click on the length, which is the number. Might need to zoom in using the mouse wheel to roll it up and down to zoom in. Double click on the length, make it 120, and hit enter. Double click on the width, make it 50, and enter. And at that stage, we're quite happy with that length and width, so we can click OK. And then the next thing to do is to extrude it, and we're going to extrude it to 3 millimeters thick. That's how much we're going to extrude it by. So we click on Extrude. Now you can't see it at the moment that we've turned it into 3D, so to see it in 3D we might need to change the view. So you can change the view in AB here and put it into isometric, so you can see that there. Another way of moving it around is just to press the mouse wheel. Now if you roll it up and down, you can zoom in and out, and if you press it in while you move your mouse around, that will rotate your view, so you can see it from all different angles. Now we want this to be 3, and you can type it into here or in at the top of the box here. So type in 3 and enter, and now we've extruded our rectangle up into 3D. Next step, so we've looked at it in isometric or used the mouse wheel to see where we are. Now we're going to go into the model tree on the left. We're going to right click on sketch 1 and go to edit definition. So the model tree on the left, go to sketch 1, right click and edit definition. Now again, we want to put it into sketch view so that we can see it nice and flat. And what we're going to do here is we're going to draw some construction lines. Now these are dashed faint lines which aren't actual geometry, but they're going to help us to lock on to where we're going to draw some actual lines that we're going to use to trim. So we go to construction mode and line, so construction mode and line, and then with our datum lines, the blue dotted datum lines at the bottom and on the left, we're going to start from this corner, go right with one line and then down with another. So this is how we do it. We go to construction and line, starting from this corner, we go click, and you'll see as you click and pull out you get a dotted line, and you can click anywhere along here, about a quarter of the way along is fine. Click, and when you click once you'll carry on drawing until you press the mouse wheel to stop. So I've clicked to make one line, now I'm going to make another one about halfway down or a quarter of the way down. Click again, and now I've finished drawing now, so to stop I need to press the mouse wheel in, and that makes me stop drawing. Right, now what we need to do is go to our normal dimension tool and click on the horizontal line that we drew first, make it 35, and the one that goes down we're going to make 15. So normal dimensions is over here. We click on this number, double click it to make it 35 and enter, and double click on this number to make it 15 and enter. Next, so from the end of the construction line that we've just drawn, we need to draw 2 horizontal lines, one going left and one going right until they hit the edges, and then use the mouse button to stop drawing the line. So we draw a line from that point to the end, and then another line from that point to the end. So that's what we need to switch construction mode off and just draw a normal line. We'll do the right one first. So from that point, click and move across until it hits the edge. Click, again mouse wheel to stop drawing, and do another one from here, sort of lock on so it's going nice and straight, and click, and then mouse wheel to stop. Now that line that we've just drawn there, we want to turn into a construction line. We don't want it to be solid. So to do that, we right click and hold and go to construction, and you can see it's turned. Oops, didn't mean to do all of it, just wanted to do that last little one. If that happens, just take construction mode off and draw another line over the top of it. Right, and we might need to just select this line. Where have we got to? Okay, so yeah, so we've turned that into a construction line. That one's a solid line. Now from the same point, which is here, from the same point, draw a slight angle moving up so that it touches the top of the rectangle. And when you do that, you need to ideally make sure that you've got it on line. So you're coming up from that point up until it hits that top line, just at an angle, doesn't matter how much. Click, and then mouse wheel to stop drawing. Now we're going to go to normal dimensions, and what I didn't really want is an angle to be going that way, so I'm going to, instead of having that one, I'm going to click this line, and then to put a dimension where you want it to, you click one line, click the other line, so it's left click, and then mouse wheel to drop it where you want it. So it's click, click, mouse wheel to select where the angle goes. So this angle is going to be 60. Double click, type in 60, and now all we've got to do is to trim off some of these lines that we don't want anymore. So we use the delete line segment, which is here, and you can either draw a scribble through it, or you can click on it and it will disappear. You've got to remember to get rid of this little one here. And with any luck, what should happen is that the sketch will go shaded in this sort of orange colour like that, and when you click OK, you'll see that you've got your drill gauge shape. If by any chance it doesn't work and it goes red, or it says that features aren't working, it's usually because you've drawn an extra line somewhere that is interrupting it. It might be a line here, for example, and then you'll get this happen to you. Alright, in which case you have to go right click, edit definition of your sketch, and you might need to use your select and just delete any lines. You might have drawn a line on top of another one and you can't see it, in which case just hit delete. You might need to redraw them back in like I've done there. Usually it will show up with the little red dots on the ends to show that it's been left open. But there we go, that one's done. So now what we can do is, after we've trimmed those off, move on to the second side of the sheet, so step 20. View it in isometric, and now we're going to go back into sketch 1 and edit definition. So back into sketch 1, edit definition, and for this what we're going to do is draw a construction line. So we need to go to construction mode and line, and we're going to draw a line from this end. As we hover over, we'll see a little green M appear, indicating the midpoint. So go back into Creo and go to construction mode and line. Hover over this end here until you get the green M saying midpoint. Click there and come again across so it locks on. Click and then mouse wheel to stop. Now what we're going to do is just draw lots of lines from this end. I'm going to draw 10 lines, sorry not 10, 7 lines moving in this direction. That's going to locate where our holes are going to go. So keep construction mode and line on. We lock it onto there. You keep it nice and straight, and it doesn't matter how long it is, just draw it about there. Click and then mouse wheel to stop. Now we're going to do another one. Click, mouse wheel to stop. Now as you're drawing, try and avoid any of these M's and L's when you're drawing them, because it will assume that you want it to be the same length or the same distance that another line that you've previously drawn is, and we don't want to do that. We want to tell it how long it's going to be. So just try and avoid the M's and the L's. Mouse wheel to stop. Draw another one. Click. Click. Mouse wheel to stop. And again, click. Click. Mouse wheel. Click. Click. Mouse wheel. Click. Click. Mouse wheel. And we'll do one more. Click. Click. And mouse wheel. Now, you can use the normal dimensions, but I'm going to show you a different way of changing your sizes, and it's quite a nice way of moving things around. I'm going to use select instead. So go to select, and what select will do is it will let you move your measurements around. So straight away what we can do is start moving these dimensions out of the way so they're outside of the object. So that's our first one. If we move that one down, then move the second one, and made a mistake on that one. So I need to draw another one back in there. I think I must have hovered over it when I had an M. That'll do. So go to select and move your measurements so they're off and nice and neatly down at the bottom. Then we can change the sizes of them. So the first one's going to be 14. Double click, type in 14 and enter. The next one's 30. Double click, 30, enter. The next one's 45. Next one's 59. Next one's 72. Then it's 84. And then it's 95. Sorry, we need a couple more there. Let's draw a couple more in. So one, go to about there, mouse wheel to stop. One from there, to there, mouse wheel to stop, and then you select again. Move these down so they're not in the middle of your shape. That one's going to be 95. And then the final one is 105, 105, and enter. So those are now the center points of all of our drill holes. So we can keep in sketch mode, but we're going to switch construction mode off and draw some circles. So draw a circle there and there. At this stage, it doesn't actually matter if they're all the same size, so they'll lock on with an R if they're going to be the same size. If you were going to make this in reality, you'd drill all of your holes with the smallest drill size first, and then gradually open them up as you're going. So this is kind of the way that we would make it in reality. So let's use the select tool again and set the first diameter of this to be 3. So look where the little arrows are going, set it to 3 and enter. So now it's done that, it's made all of these now size 3. We don't actually want to do that. So what we'll do is drag a box around R1, delete it, and then type in for this one 4, enter. And if you want, you can use select to allow you to move where these dimensions are if you don't like where they're positioned. So we'll do the same thing, drag a box around that R1 and change that now to 5. Get rid of that one, make it 6. Get rid of that one, hit delete on the keyboard, make that 7. Get rid of that one, make it 8. Delete that one, make it 9. And the final R1 that we're going to delete is going to be 10. And like I said, if you want to, you can reposition these so that it looks a bit neater. But as long as they're not in the way, that should be fine. So we click OK, and there's our drill gauge perfectly centered with all the holes in it. The only thing that remains to be done to make it functional is to round off 3 of the corners. So to do that, and I'm just moving this around so I can see it in 3D, you could click isometric, or you could use your mouse button, but you're going to click on the round tool and click on 3 edges, not a flat surface like that, but one of the edges. If you just position it so you can get to that number, that's going to be 6, double click it, and 6, and enter. And now we're going to do 2 more, and because we've already done 1 at 6, it's going to assume that the others are going to be 6 as well. So click that, and then click that. So we've done our 3 edges, now we can say OK. And that's virtually it. The final thing that you could do is to add some text. And I'll show you what I've done or how to do it very quickly. I won't do all of it, but basically what you do to add your text with your numbers in is go to Face, the top surface, click on it. Usually you have to click on the whole object so it goes green, then click on the object, the surface that you're going to draw on, tell it you're going to sketch on it, put it into sketch view, and then you can draw text. And the first thing it asks you to do is to draw the height. So you click the bottom and click the top, type in your number. We're doing a 3mm hole, so type in 3, and then you can find yourself a suitable font. And if you want, again, you can use select to just check that the sizes of that are okay. Make that 4mm tall, set it 22mm from the bottom, and 104mm from the end. Okay, so that's locked in place. We can do the same thing again and again. Draw another line, another piece of text, line it up with that last one. If you hover over it, it will assume that it wants that height to be the same as the first one, which we do. This one we're going to make 4. Again, pick your font. Unfortunately, it doesn't remember the font that you used last time, so you have to scroll through it again. And keep going until you get to 10. And when you're finished, you click OK, and then go to Extrude. And obviously, instead of having it extruding outwards, we're going to push that down using the yellow box, push it back down, and we want it to go back in by 0.5 of a millimeter. So it's as if it's been embossed in. and then click OK. When it's finished, it should look a little like this, alright, with all your numbers on it. So at that point, when you're finished, you can go File, Save. If you want to, you can go into the Render tab and have a go at making it coloured in using textures and materials and different room settings. Try and make it look a bit more realistic. I've not got the best colour scheme there, but have a play around with it and see what you come up with. The next stage will be to make some engineering drawings based on this drill gauge that we've created. But for the time being, that's what we've got.